consciousness of us humans have, because of this unconsciousness, has caused some great suffering as a result. And through our actions, we cause great suffering. Whether that means that when, your parents were unconscious, or perhaps you were unconscious and, you say some negative things to your child, or you beat your child, and then this is what the child lives with and grows up in, and learns to create a shell for himself in order to protect itself, which is okay. It's a great mechanism to be able to protect when you're defenseless. But it doesn't serve us as we become adults, and that protection really ends up hurting us. And we can't live in that. We can't live in that shell, in that protective shell, hiding ourselves from not only the world, but you hide yourself from who you really are. And who you are is an expression of consciousness, an expression of God. This is your natural state of consciousness. It's just to be that expression, wanting to express. So we've hid ourselves in this shell, and we begin to then judge and see the world through this shell. And we end up, in a way, we fear to be in that situation again as adults. But what happens is that because we live in that fear and in that shell, we end up then actually recreating that same situation. So, for example, if you are with an abusive husband, somebody who beats you, and you move on from that, but you haven't resolved that core issue, and you haven't actually got in touch with yourself, we actually begin to fool ourselves and think that somehow there's going to be somebody else out there that's going to be better. And you may at first think that you find that somebody else is going to be better, but it turns out that somebody else ends up being the same sort of thing, the same abuse sort of starts to happen. And we all, as the ego doesn't like to think that there's something wrong with me, it's always them. There's something wrong with them. Although the ego can work the other way too. It's still ego when there's something wrong with me, everything is me, it's still ego. Everybody else is okay, but there's something wrong with me. That's just the opposite end of the ego. But in any sense, from my own life, I went through countless boyfriends. I should say countless, I didn't have that many. But okay, I went through many relationships where I was really ending up choosing the same type of men. And then you kind of realize after a while, you think, wait a second here, these are all different men, but there's just one common denominator here, and that's me. So what is going on with me? So here I was choosing all these different men in my life. What I like to call it is that I call it same shit, but different pile. You have the same shit that goes on, but it's just a different form here. So it's life saying again, okay, you got to look at this, you got to look at that. And I was choosing the same men because I had the same beliefs that were inside of me. Whether it's the belief of there's something wrong with me, I'm not good enough, I'll never find anybody that really truly loves me. So here I was choosing men that really I wasn't really in love with anyways, because I didn't believe it myself. You have to feel it in yourself. You have to love yourself first before you can actually go out and really be with somebody. Because other than that, if you are not truly in touch with who you are on that deeper level, all your relationships are in a way going to be on a superficial level. Meaning that oftentimes when I sought a relationship out, it was out of because I felt somehow incomplete.